I just need someone to explain something to me. I live in Alabama, and my utility bill usually averages between $200 $250 a month. Can someone please explain to me how my utility bill went from $250 a month to $696 this month? Could someone just please explain that to me? I know it was cold last month, but $696? Explain!
So MAGAville just got the mess around and find out in their own hometown of Huntsville, Alabama, who voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump because he promised to lower utility bills, groceries, and others. Well, many of them just got a notice from their electric company that their bill will go up by $100 due to a surcharge. And the explanation in this notification was that the $1 million subsidy grant from the federal government has been canceled by, drumroll please, Donald Duffy Duck Trump. Yes, that's right. Donald Trump has ended the subsidy handout to the electric company to help keep Alabama's poorest residents from paying extra money on their electric bills, which they cannot afford. However, thanks to voting for Donald Trump, that subsidy is no longer, and you will pay to play. Follow for more. Our Substack is in the bio.
Alabama, one of the poorest states in America, a state where nearly 1 in 6 people live below the poverty line, where 1 in 5 depend on Medicaid just to see a doctor. And Alabama voted for Trump by 65%. Now let's talk about what that vote just cost them. Because the big, beautiful bill just passed. And what it does to Alabama specifically is not beautiful. It is not big in any way that helps the people who need help the most. It cuts Medicaid, it cuts food stamps, it slashes the programs that 1 in 5 Alabamians depend on to survive, while routing that money directly to tax cuts for people who will never spend a single night wondering if they can afford their medication.
Love a great FAFO moment, and I have another one for you. First, some background. 65% of the state of Alabama voted for Donald Trump. Alabama is in the top 10 poorest states in the United States related to federal poverty level. While many of these voters sit behind their computers and celebrate Elon Musk cutting waste, little did they know it was going to impact them. This week, over 250 residents in Huntsville, Alabama received a notice from their electric company that they were going to have to pay an additional $100 surcharge. The explanation for this was that Donald Trump's recent executive order ended a $1 million grant to the utilities company to help these customers pay for their electric bill. Leaders in Alabama are furious because they said this is counterintuitive to Donald Trump's promise to lower energy costs. Tots and pears.
Trump has cut my food stamps from $2,800 down to $350. Now, what am I supposed to do? So I literally just got this piece of mail today saying that due to new policy changes from the Trump administration, all this shit, whatever, that all these cuts and whatever he's doing over there, now they're telling me I have to go work. Now I have to go do all this. Well, I literally got 5 kids. Okay, I'm trying to sit here and spend time with them. I'm not trying to go work, 50, 60 hours a week so I can pay bills. I just really don't understand. I voted for him this last election because I thought what he had good was going on, but now all of a sudden, all this policy stuff's coming out, and now he's making all these cuts, and now he doesn't want to help the less fortunate people no more. I'm done with that guy. I'm not. If he gets voted in again, I'm leaving this country. Because I'm not dealing with this no more.
He voted for Trump because he thought he had good things going on, and Trump cut his food stamps from $280 down to $50. Now he has 5 kids and $50 a month for groceries. And I need everybody to do that math right now. $50 a month for 5 children, that is $10 per child per month. That is 33 cents per child per day. You cannot feed a child on 33 cents a day. You cannot feed a goldfish on 33 cents a day. And now they are telling him he needs to go get a job. Work 5060 hours a week. As if the problem was that he wasn't working hard enough and not that Trump just cut the program keeping his children fed.
So Trump tells Republicans, if we don't win midterms, I will get impeached. I am telling you right now, I'm urging all Americans to make sure that you vote during these midterms, okay? Because this is exactly what he is fearing, and this is exactly what we need to fucking happen. So just so we're all clear, in the midterms, Congress is decided. They are your U.S. House of Representatives and also your Senates, okay? We need to remember this. This is important. This is our chance to rebalance the power dynamics, okay? We need congressmen. We need them to act. We've seen what happened in Venezuela without their support. Very quickly, these are the dates that your state are going to be having the midterms. And if you are in Massachusetts like me, ours is going to happen September 1st of this year. This man is not fit for presidency. Not only is he dividing Americans, he is also dividing the other worlds from us. He is doing horrible things and is going to affect the dynamic of other relationships that people have with America, other countries. So we need this man out ASAP.
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, and I know I'm probably going to get some unfollows, but I regret my vote 110%. What is going on with this country right now actually makes me sick. SNAP defunded, Medicaid ripped away. My children just lost their Medicaid. My 6 babies, 2 of them on the spectrum, 1 of them with severe asthma, just got caught. And it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better. What I've been seeing and what I've been hearing for these past few weeks, I've been trying to just ignore it, and I've been trying to say that it's, it's just that side, fear-mongering again. But it's happening. It's happening. I'm absolutely terrified, and you should absolutely be terrified. And we all should be regretting who we voted for.
For those that don't know, the Supreme Court ruled Monday for the Trump administration and agreed U.S. immigration agents may stop and detain anyone they suspect in the U.S. illegally based on little more than working at a gas station, at a restaurant, at a car wash, speaking Spanish, or having brown skin. That is all they need. If you speak Spanish or have brown skin, you are in danger. My family's in danger. And we have to step up. We have to be the change. We have to spread the word. Make sure to keep your family as safe as you can. Let them be informed. And that's the best that we can do. But, yep, the Supreme Court ruled this on Monday for the Trump administration. For those that don't know, the Supreme Court ruled Monday for the Trump administration and agreed U.S. immigration agents may stop and detain anyone they suspect in the U.S. illegally based on little more than working at a gas station, at a restaurant, at a car wash, speaking Spanish, or having brown skin. That is all they need. If you speak Spanish or have brown skin, you are in danger. My family's in danger. And we have to step up. We have to be the change. We have to spread the word. Make sure to keep your family as safe as you can. Let them be informed. And that's the best that we can do. But, yep, the Supreme Court ruled this on Monday for the Trump administration.
The Supreme Court just ruled that immigration agents can stop and detain anyone based on working at a gas station, speaking Spanish, having brown skin. That is the entire criteria. Not a warrant, not evidence, not probable cause. Not any of the constitutional protections that every American is supposed to be guaranteed regardless of where they came from or what language they speak or what they look like. Just brown skin and Spanish. And Alabama MAGA voters cheered for this, cheered for the roundups, cheered for the raids, cheered for the tough on immigration stance. As long as it was happening to someone else, in someone else's neighborhood, on someone else's street.
I need all Alabama Trump supporters to report here. I need you to come here, particularly the poor ones. Because right now, your president's budget proposal has already passed through the House of Representatives. So now it's going to go to the Senate, and it's likely going to pass because the Senate is also being controlled by the Republicans you voted for. Okay. And what this budget proposal is wanting is to cut Medicaid, cut food stamps, and give all that money to the ultra rich. So the people who are already rich, they're about to get more money from these tax cuts that they're getting from you, a poor person. So the poor person who needs help to pay for food and health care, you're now probably not going to get it or get as much as you need because that money is being rerouted to rich people. And I just need to know, did you not know this is going to happen? You didn't know that Trump was advocating for rich people and not poor people like you? I'm just wondering, because almost 16% of Alabamians live in poverty. And that's considered the national threshold of poverty. There's a lot of y'all who are really poor. It's a lot of y'all. A little over 1 million Alabamians are on Medicare. That's a fifth of the people in the state of Alabama. Alabama is already one of the poorest states in the country, and it's about to get poorer because of these cuts that are about to happen. Now, for the people who voted for Trump and who are not poor, I hope that you are okay and prepared for the poor people who live in your neighboring communities, the poor people who are maybe relatives in your family, to come knocking on your door when they need housing, when they need help paying for their medical visits, when they need something to eat. I hope that you all are willing to give those people some of your money, since you voted for a man who is going to take some of those resources away. It is always said that poor white people will always vote against their interests in the name of racism. And that is exactly what has happened. Donald Trump is probably one of the most racist presidents in modern history. And he has galvanized support from white supremacists all over the country, specifically in Alabama, where white supremacy was born. And people support him because of that, and not because of their own personal interests. So, Trump supporters, let me know what's up. You know, what you plan on doing when your Medicaid is shut off and your food stamps are gone. You know, what you gonna say to your boy? How you gonna let Trump know what's up?
1 in 5 Alabamians on Medicaid, 1 in 6 living below the poverty line. And the budget that just passed the House cuts Medicaid and food stamps and hands that money directly to people who already have more than they could spend in 10 lifetimes. That is not a budget. That is a transfer. A straight line from the poorest people in one of the poorest states in the country directly into the pockets of people who will never set foot in Alabama. And she asked the most important question that nobody in Alabama seems to want to answer. Did you not know this was going to happen? Because it was not a secret. Trump didn't hide his tax plan. Project 2025 didn't hide the Medicaid cuts. The Heritage Foundation published the entire blueprint and handed it out like a menu.
My husband's about to find out the consequences of his actions. For the next 4 years, there's going to be no more sex. I've decided not to divorce you, but you're going to be doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, and all the dishes for 4 years.
That's new.
Hey, these are the consequences of voting for Trump.
You voted for Trump too.
So you may not know this, but in 2024, at the start of the year, at the start of Donald Trump's presidential campaign, his initial donors, big initial donors, were private prisons. He raked in $1 million, maybe over $1 million, pretty much out the gate. We saw all this anti-immigrant rhetoric being pushed across social media, not organic. Basically, folks are being taught to hate. You're being taught to dislike immigrants. Why is that? Well, flash forward to the big, beautiful bill and look at what the big, beautiful bill just allocated our taxpayer monies to. $45 billion to immigrant detention. These companies that donated to Donald Trump are now raking in literally billions of dollars. If you go back again to 2023, 2024, and you look at, there was a bill that Senator Lankford was pushing, a Republican. It was a immigration bill. It was going to get everything under control. It was backed by Republicans. Donald Trump came in, while not in power, by the way, and openly bragged about killing the bill. He went after these politicians, these Republican politicians that were going to do the right thing by threatening to end their careers. And so they ended up bowing down to Trump, doing what Trump wanted. They left the border open for political reasons. So one can say that, you know, some of the folks they let in now, that they let in under Trump, under Trump's direction, the companies that donated to Donald Trump are now making money on each one of these folks that they detain. This is absolutely disgusting. This is for-profit prisons that are operating on human suffering that didn't even need to happen. Look, I'm all for immigration reform. I'm for strong borders. But we have to be compassionate. What's going on right now we haven't seen since 1930s Germany. This is runaway populism where they use lies, fear, and hate to manipulate their base into supporting things that are flat out immoral and unethical. Not only that, they're skyrocketing our national debt with stuff like this. $45 billion. And, you know, right now they increase the deficit, I believe, by $5 trillion with this big, beautiful bill. They don't care about the future of our kids. They only care about stuff in their pockets. My name's Kyle Sweetser, and I'm running for United States Senate here in Alabama, and I'm running to fight against this inhumane regime. I'm running to fight against the folks that will deny you your rights the first chance they get. I'm running against these folks to make life more affordable for the people of Alabama, for the people of America. And I'm running against them to make everyone's life better, to work to make everyone's life better, to where the government serves the people instead of the government serving these huge corporations that have horrible intentions. Thank you all for listening.
Private prisons donate millions to Trump's campaign before he even wins. Trump kills a bipartisan immigration bill that would have actually fixed the border, brags about killing it, threatens the careers of Republican senators who tried to do the right thing. Border stays open. More people cross. Trump wins, big beautiful bill allocates $45 billion to immigrant detention. The same private prison companies that donated millions at the start of the campaign are now making billions on every single person they detain. That is not immigration policy. That is a business model. That is the most straightforward corruption you will ever see laid out in plain English, and nobody is talking about it loud enough.
All right, so the Republican side of Congress has submitted, are you ready for this? They have submitted their budget resolution. It's what they want to pass. They want to pass. And there's a good chance that they can pass a new budget without Democrats, so they can push through all the nasty stuff they want to do. And you want to know the biggest thing they want to cut? The Republicans want to cut $880 billion from the Medicaid budget. Guess how much the Medicaid budget is? $880 billion. So they want to kill Medicaid, and they want to cut SNAP, which is food stamps. So everybody just sit back and take that in. How many, let's pretend, what do you think the percentage of Trump supporters, those fart sniffers out there, all the people who voted for Trump, what do you think the percentage of them is that receives Medicaid? Medicaid is for people who are poor and cannot afford health insurance. Medicaid and food stamps and SNAP benefits. What do you think the percentage of Trump fart sniffers is that receives benefits from those programs? The mothers, the fathers, the grandfathers, and whatever, pretty damn high. So you know what? I hate to say this because I don't want people to be hurt that don't deserve to be hurt, but let them kill that program, and you watch how many Trump fart sniffers will be affected in such a negative way. Okay? Think about it. Food stamps, SNAP program, welfare, Medicaid, all those Trump fart sniffers, they take from those programs. They act like they don't. They act like they're socialized programs that only the Democrats create. But at the same time, they're getting those benefits. They get it wired into their bank accounts. They get their cards filled up with funds. Not if the GOP has anything to say about it.
Hey, my name's Kyle Sweetser, and I'm running for United States Senate down here in Alabama. The MAGA politicians that run our state have completely abandoned the Constitution. A U.S. citizen over in Baldwin County, Alabama, has been detained by ICE twice now, without due process, off a private job site. He's now suing this administration because they violated his constitutional rights. When I get to the U.S. Senate, I will stand up for everybody's rights here in Alabama, and I will stand up for the Constitution, and I will stand up for the rights of every American.
Breaking news, a new poll released out of Alabama today shows that 100% of MAGA voters support Donald Trump's initiative to remove DEI from the government. When asked what DEI was, though, however, 75% of them said that is where black people and gays in dresses get jobs over white people. When explained that that was not exactly what DEI was, that it was actually a service in which it could help handicapped people who needed certain kinds of accessory tools. Maybe if they're deaf, they might need an interpreter. They then said, oh, you mean the broken people? We should get rid of them too. Breaking news, a new poll released out of Alabama today shows that 100% of MAGA voters support Donald Trump's initiative to remove DEI from the government. When asked what DEI was, though, however, 75% of them said that is where black people and gays in dresses get jobs over white people. When explained that that was not exactly what DEI was, that it was actually a service in which it could help handicapped people who needed certain kinds of accessory tools. Maybe if they're deaf, they might need an interpreter. They then said, oh, you mean the broken people? We should get rid of them too.
100% support removing DEI, 75% don't know what DEI is. That is the entire MAGA voting strategy summarized in 2 sentences. They didn't support removing DEI because they understood what it was and had a thoughtful policy objection to it. They supported removing it because someone on TV told them it was how black people and gay people were taking their jobs, and that was enough. That was all the information they needed to enthusiastically vote for something they couldn't define if their life depended on it.
Did you notice just how fast the narrative flipped? I did. I was psychological operations in the Army, and our motto at 9th Battalion was, win the mind, win the day. I know propaganda when I see it. I recognize the tactics they're using. Leading up to the No Kings protest, it was all Hate America rally, radical leftists, paid protesters, Antifa terrorists. They even hyped up the National Guard like violence was inevitable. Then boom, overnight, suddenly it's harmless old white people, millions of boomers, geriatric protesters, and great job, Liv, still no king. That's the playbook right there. Troll, gaslight, repeat. They pump out fear and division to justify power. If something happens, they crack down on immigrants, trans people, whoever fits the story that week. If nothing happens, they mock it, they minimize it, they try to demoralize anyone who dared show up. Either way, the regime wins. That's the goal. That's how propaganda works. And most folks don't even realize they're part of that machine, blindly amplifying the message one way or the other. That's why it's so damn effective. It looks organic. We have to recognize that America lives inside a MAGA media environment. Not everyone watches Midas Touch or stays politically active. A lot of people are only casually tuned in, and that's understandable. We can talk about that another time. But for now, just recognize the play. Their echo chamber is loud. It can feel impossible to fight back, but you can. Believe your eyes, trust what you saw, and overwhelm the ballot box. Because here's the truth. They only have to be right once. We have to keep showing up every single time, believing in each other, cutting through the noise, and standing firm. So ignore the propaganda. Grow the movement. Find your courage. And keep fucking going. Together in 2026, we will take the House.
This man did psychological operations in the United States Army, and he is telling you directly that he recognizes every single tactic being used on the American public right now because he was trained to use them on enemies of this country, and he is watching them being used on us. Before the No Kings protest, it was radical leftists and Antifa terrorists, and the National Guard is coming and violence is inevitable. Every news cycle pumping fear and division and making sure that anyone thinking about showing up felt like they were walking into a war zone. Then millions of people showed up peacefully. And overnight, the narrative flipped completely. Harmless old boomers. Geriatric protesters. Nothing to see here. Both narratives serve the same purpose. Before the protests, you are a dangerous terrorist for wanting to show up. After the protests, you are a ridiculous old person who accomplished nothing. Either way, you are demoralized. Either way, you are discouraged. Either way, the regime wins the narrative without firing a single shot.